at you with round 2 of trying to record, which I'll explain why in my thorn today. But hi everyone, welcome back to Apartment 6. I'm Jess.
I'm Marissa.
And today we're going to be continuing with the third installment the 36 questions to make you fall in love or get closer to your partner that you're doing them with. I would have been really impressed if you busted out a harmony. But I couldn't do that. I don't know how to harmonize with someone on the spot. So, but I was like, what if she did that? That would be insane.
Well, I wonder if I could harmonize with an improved melody.
I know, because you didn't know where I was going.
Right.
You thought I was going to zig? I'm zagging.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. That would be an interesting skill. I don't know if I have it, but anyway.
Moving into our roses and thorns.
What is your thorn?
My thorn is that I just had to text our upstairs neighbors. We were recording this podcast and the sound, the volume, the noise was just like so much above us. And it's been like this literally since we moved in, but especially in the last like week and beyond that, it's been really bad in quarantine. But we've like had conversations with them that have been like, hey, like this is really loud and this is what we're hearing and we're getting woken up by this. And they always like say they're going to be better and then they don't. And they always make excuses and try to like gaslight us and be like, well, we can hear you too. And I'm like, no, you can't, because I'm not thudding on your floor. Like you literally, they live above us in like an old apartment building with thin walls and thin ceilings. They have a big dog that they got as a puppy a few months ago, but he's a golden retriever, so he's going to grow. And he already has. He's like, I don't think like, he's not his full adult weight because that's like not how things work. But I think I read at the beginning of all this that golden retrievers can reach like their full adult like weight, I think like 6 months to a year. And he's probably about 6 or 7 months, assuming they got him probably like 10 weeks or so after he was born. That's like minimal dog knowledge. Like, I don't know, we got my dog when she was like 11 weeks after being born. There's like a certain amount of time they need to be with their mom, and I don't know. So it's just crazy, and it's just making me feel more isolated, and it already like frustrates me that I don't feel like the dog is going to have like the best life because of the situation that he's being put in of living on the top floor of a small apartment. They have the exact same unit as we do, just a floor up, and it just frustrates me, and it has frustrated me from the beginning, but I'm particularly frustrated this week because I'm feeling tired and sensitive this week.
Retweet.
What about you?
Yep, echoing all of that because I feel the same. But my thorn this week is, again, we're on round 2 of recording, so I feel funny saying this again.
I already forgot. I literally have gotten like, I just got like so upset in the last 5 minutes that I already forgot what your thorn was.
My thorn is just that I
made
a dumb mistake at work this week that was completely my fault and caused me headaches and more work afterwards. But like, again, it was my fault, so it's not even like I feel like if in situations where like my colleagues have made mistakes and I've had to like help clean up the mess, your anger kind of like fuels you and you're like, oh, I'll fix this for you because you're no good, rotten, whatever. But like when you made the mistake, it's like you're just kind of stuck in your like, own mud. Yeah.
When will you be caught up from having made the mistake? Like, did you already like remedy it and you're now back on track, or?
Definitely not that one.
Okay, so it'll linger for like a little bit?
At least a couple weeks, because like there are pieces that depend on other people. Like if it all just depended on me to fix, then I could fix it at my own pace, I guess. But like things get like locked in our system, so my mistake basically got locked, and then I need someone else to like unlock the work that I did so I can like reset it. And this lady who needs to do that is like super busy and takes so long to get back to us on stuff. So like I have to wait on her. I don't know. It's just like it's a whole ass thing, but it was frustrating. But again, I only have myself to blame. So poor me.
Poor me.
What is your rose this week?
My rose is that I have a week off.
Jealous.
I mean, I'm on furlough, so like it's not like I'm taking a vacation and sorry, yawn. Like and also like the what's it called? The $600 that you get for unemployment is no longer a thing. So like I actually am losing money this time.
Yeah. Hopefully this will be the last time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's good.
So they say. Just kidding. Yeah. I mean, it is, but like you never know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a crossing your fingers and whatever. But I'm really excited to have a break just because, you know, with the nature of doing once a month, 1 week furloughs, it's like you're slamming 4 weeks of work into 3 all the time. And also you're doing it at sort of a wonky like staff capacity where sometimes like you need something from someone and they're on furlough and then you're like, crap, but I'm on furlough the next week. So we can't touch base about this until 2 weeks from now. And then it's a whole new month. And like, so it's kind of crazy. And I think we're all sort of on our staff, like feeling that fatigue. And in the last month, I've definitely been feeling it, especially because my July furlough was like the second week, like first full week of July. And then this one is like second to last week of August. Just the way like our July one was just timed that way. Otherwise, all of mine have been the second to last week. So I've just gone longer than I normally would during the time while we're doing furloughs of working. It's weird because like normally I like will go weeks at a time without working and it's normal. But for some reason during the furloughs, it feels like, oh my gosh, I need like that break. And I think for me, I just like really mentally need it right now. I really just like need to like take some time to get out of the city. So I think I talked about this last week, but I'm going to visit my mom in New Hampshire. I'm going to do a couple of hikes and we're going to bake and we're going to watch TV and we're going to probably play games and spend time with my dog. And I just like need that right now. So I'm just like happy to be looking to that. Like it's a Saturday as we're recording this and I've got the whole next week off and I really feel like I need it. What's your rose?
My rose is that we got Veggie Galaxy takeout this week.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorite, specifically vegetarian, but also just in general, restaurants in the city. And they were taking COVID super duper seriously, which was great, but it also meant that we had to miss out on yummy food for a long time. But they finally opened up and we were able to finally get Veggie Galaxy. We like we set it all out on the table and like inhaled it, and then it felt like 2 seconds later it was gone and I was sad again.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
I work right near Veggie Galaxy. So like I had to go into work for a photo shoot and I was like, will Veggie Galaxy open on Tuesday? I'm going into work for Wednesday. I was like, should we like have a feast? So I placed an order at like 1 p.m. like in like excitement to get it at 5 p.m. So I knew exactly what I was eating for dinner and just had to like sit through the work day until 5. And then I like picked it up and it was just, I was like, the bag was like big and heavy and I was like, ugh.
So satisfying.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was so
They're
good.
great.
It actually, now that I think of it, it was pretty serendipitous that you were going to the office on Wednesday because they opened on Tuesday, but their ordering system was a little wacky, and so they like maxed out their orders really soon, and they like I don't know if their website crashed, but they basically like couldn't handle whatever system they had set up on Tuesday. So then Wednesday they did it differently and it worked out really smoothly. So It was great that you were there on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, because imagine if we like felt the same like excitement to have it and you went in on Tuesday and then it turned out that we couldn't have it. It would have been so sad.
I know.
So
but they like didn't have any order limits on Wednesday. So I think that's really what helped, because like instead of like rushing to the website at like 10 or 10:30 whenever they open.
They have some dedicated fans.
Yeah, well, people not only miss them but just like love them as a local business and want to support them. So I feel like some people, it wasn't even about like, oh my gosh, I miss this food. It's also like, oh my god, I just like want to like flood them with love on their opening day. Like I tipped them 20%, even though like we weren't eating there, we weren't getting delivery. Like I was like just going and picking it up, and I like never do that, mostly because I never think to do that. I can never think to like, if I'm picking something up, give a tip, especially because I'm like paying online and some places don't like give you that option. Like I never, or at least I never notice an option unless I'm like specifically opting in for delivery, or obviously if you're sitting at a table. But I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna tip them 20%. Those are my guys.
They really do deserve it. They do very good work over at Veggie Galaxy.
They're so sweet. So let's get into the 30. I'm not going to do it again. Let's get into the 36 questions.
Poppin'.
If you're following along, you're probably not, unless you're all like okay, whatever. We're on set 3, which is questions 25 through 36. And I'll kick it off and ask you. Well, actually, this is never mind. This isn't a question.
A collaborative statement.
Yeah. It says make 3 true we statements each. For instance, we are both in this room feeling ...
I always get so overwhelmed by the ones that are like, say 6 things. So I'm like, I don't have 6 things to say.
You can.
I can't. I'm shy.
I'll start.
Who gave me a podcast?
I like the we're both in this room feeling one, because that's like a cool way to like gauge the room, but also like I'm not going to do that for all 3.
What if we each do 2?
Okay. Like you took it down by 1 and that makes you feel that much better.
Yes. Well, because since we both have to come up with individual ones, like how could we not repeat them? I don't know. Okay.
I guess we won't know unless we just do it.
All right. Okay.
We are both in this room feeling frustrated by our upstairs neighbors.
Obviously. Yes. Okay. It's hard to not do we are both in this room. I know we don't have to, but we are both feeling our energy affected by the weather today.
Yes, for sure.
Because it's like gloomy outside.
It's gloomy, and I like that it's kind of chilly because it reminds me of fall, which actually goes into my next thing. I was going to say we are both looking forward to autumn right now.
Agree. Okay. Taking inspiration, we are both looking forward to going home soon. Because I'm also going home this week, which I'm looking forward to. All right. Do you think should we try to do another one?
Sure.
Whoa. Okay, maybe
I have one, but I'm like, okay. We are both trying and learning to be kinder to our bodies every day.
Ooh, I love that one. That's a really, really good one. I got confident for a second and now my mind is blank.
Think of all the things we have in common.
I know, but I don't want to do something obvious. We both played Bananagrams last night.
I guess that works. I mean, we played Bananagrams with each other, but I was also going to say we both spent way too much money in the last month.
Oh, that's a good one.
Another one, because we both the other night we placed an order together, and
I keep doing this toxic thing where it's not toxic. I think it's smart in the long run, but it involves spending more money. I do this thing where if I get an item that I try on and I love it and I know that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it, I immediately, day of, order another one. So we went to the mall to do some returns, and I got a sports bra at Aerie that I loved. So then naturally went home and started placing an order for another one. And Jess hopped in on it.
I hopped in on the order, yeah.
I pressured her to get one too, basically.
It's really delicious. But that night, Marissa was like, okay, but that's it. Because I was like, oh my gosh, Marissa, like, we have to stop this. And she was like, that's it. And then she like started cracking up and she was like, you know, when you like know you're lying when you're saying something and it's like clown emoji. Like she was like, I feel like I could just put a big clown emoji over my face right now as I'm saying like, that's it. No more spending money.
And I literally bought records today.
She went out for a walk and came home with 3 records. She's like, oh, it's so weird, but I passed by the record store. I was like,
you know, when that happens, it's crazy. It's like you can't even control it. I had no choice. Okay.
Hello, after a brief intermission that you didn't notice because we paused.
Movie magic.
We are back tonight. We're back. I think that's something they say on Channel 7 is, we're back tonight. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Moving right along. Complete this sentence. I'm going to say it for you, and then you'll complete it, okay? I wish I had someone... Say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, my God.
I wish I had someone with whom I could share...
affection.
Nice.
But like specifically romantic affection, because I'm just not, I feel like that's the only realm of my life that I express affection in that like traditional way. Like I'm not really like huggy with like friends or family or anything, but I would want that with like a romantic partner. So I do be hunting for it.
Someone just smooch.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the basics of it. I had Jess give me some Hinge pointers last night.
Yeah, I just little old matchmaker me.
I drank 1 beer and then I got sad about my love life.
Oh my God, I didn't even correlate the fact that you were drinking when that happened.
I think I was also just like tired.
I also didn't realize you were sad. You didn't
you
didn't have a sad. Oh. You didn't have a sad demeanor. You just had like a genuinely like what the fuck.
Well, I feel like
demeanor. Me trying to not swear.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Me trying to like limit how much I swear because I'm aware of how often I do.
Yeah, I feel like I have like 2 moods when it comes to like talking about my love life. It's like I either do seem like genuinely sad, or I get like self-deprecating where I'm just like, clearly
that's so true for you.
I'm failing at this. Like it's not working because I'm doing a bad job. And that's the way it was last night.
Okay. So it was veiled sadness.
Yeah. Sadness veiled by humor. It's the best kind of sadness.
That's
isn't it?
Something I love and do as well.
I feel like I talk about my loneliness too much on the podcast.
Everyone needs a trope.
Every episode I'm trying to like slip in that I'm like lonely.
And no, I feel like you're trying to slip in like hello suitors.
Just in case. But the thing is, like, if people listened to this and genuinely, like, before I said that kind of stuff, were like, that Marissa girl seems cool, me saying this kind of stuff would not make them more interested. They'd be like, oh, she do be desperate.
It makes you human. Everyone wants connection.
But
hello, let's not forget that we're in a pandemic and we're feeling a lack of affection and connection.
Affection and connection.
Yeah.
All right. You complete this sentence.
Okay.
You over there. Okay. I wish I had someone with whom I could share
my memories.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Specifically, I'm thinking about like I don't have a good way to like put this into words. So like memories is the easiest way for me to say it. I was thinking about like when I saw this question or this prompt, I was like, what would I really love to share with someone that I feel like I don't really get to share right now? And I was thinking about how like a few episodes ago, I talked about how it's always really comforting to talk to like my high school friends who knew my Nana. and could be like, yeah, I remember that happening, or, you know, can tell me a story. Like someone who I was friends with for like 12 years growing up, like she has like funny Nana stories of her own. And so like having someone who can share in those kinds of things, like those memories and things that I really appreciate that my mom, if I ask her questions, like she'll tell me things about my grandparents that I was too young to remember. And so I guess I do have someone that I can do that with, being like my mom. But I guess like in my dream scenario, anyone who I come in contact with could have all the same like knowledge about like my like past people that I can no longer show them and introduce them to. Like they would have that same sort of like warm feeling that that person gives me.
Yeah, like familiarity.
Yeah, so mine's like kind of a superpower thing in a way. Like it can't really happen.
Yeah, unless you like wrote a whole book with all of your memories and then made them read it.
True. A detailed analysis of every person I've known.
Yes. Okay. Then
Open the window. Burning up.
Oh,
it's like really.
I know.
Do you feel like it's hot in here?
I always get hot when we record the podcast.
Oh, I'll just put on the fan.
I don't know what it is.
I'm like sitting here. I'm like, my head feels hot. I'm like, am I angry? Like maybe a little.
Ooh, that feels good.
Okay. I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it this way a little bit. Okay. Heck yes. Can you feel?
Yep.
Good? Okay.
Okay.
What's our next cue?
Next cue is, again, it's not a cue. Wow, these are all like prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It do be getting deep.
It's if you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for him or her to know. Or they, them. 36 questions. That
I have anxiety. That's like the most important thing for like a friend to know.
Yeah, so are you thinking of this question like not me? Like somebody, like we're thinking like if we just met someone and we're getting to know them, what do we want them to know about us?
Yes, yeah,
like,
exactly.
I know
like assuming that like whoever your partner is in this situation, you don't know them. What's something that in order to become your close friend, they should know about you?
Okay.
So for me, it's definitely that I have anxiety because like even if I try to mask it, like it'll eventually come out, or like you'll eventually pick up on the fact that I have anxious tendencies. So it's just like something that in order to become a close friend of mine, you already know that. So yeah. If you were going to become a close friend with me who doesn't know you, please share what would be important for me to know. That was really hard to like fill in.
I think that I would want them to know that I need my time alone, and that I would need them to know that I wouldn't ever, like, reject's not quite the right word, but I wouldn't like say no to them just out of like not being interested in them or like not wanting to hang out with them. It would just be because I would want my alone time. Because I feel like if you don't know me well, you might think that that's like a lie or something, or an excuse. Like, yeah, you say you want to be alone, but really you just don't want to hang out with me. But like literally, if I say I want to be alone, I really do want to be alone. Yeah. So yeah, that would be my thing.
This is something that we've talked about. What episode was that? I think it was like the one about moving in together. Like, or maybe, yeah, I think so. I think it was about moving in together. We talked about like things that we kind of needed to understand about each other. And we talked about how I initially had a hard time understanding your need for alone time, especially because when I met you, you were more like you didn't honor that. Like you purposefully overexerted yourself, so that you could like make friends and keep friends in college, like thinking that like, oh, every time I get an invitation I have to say yes, and so you were always around like sophomore year, and then it was like junior year you started like exerting that and being like, I'm gonna close my door, I'm gonna whatever. And also junior year was the first time I lived with you.
Yeah.
So I was like, what?
Yeah, because I feel like that's why this is what I'd want for this question, because like if you're just like my acquaintance or something and I don't think I'm going to get particularly close to you, I might like lie. I might just like say yes to things.
Yeah, I ball out on Saturdays.
Yeah, like it's not worth it to like have that kind of tough moment with someone, because it's always a little tough when I have to like explain my introvertedness and explain like why I need to recharge, and they make sure they don't get offended. Like it's a whole thing. So like if I didn't think that someone was like gonna get close to me, I just wouldn't do it.
That's a really good rabbit hole to go down. And I actually had this thought today, like what's something you would just like lie to someone about because you just don't feel like explaining it. Like if it's someone that didn't maybe matter, or like you feel like, oh, I'll explain it in full later, but like I'll just tell them this for now. I thought of an example before, and I don't remember what I was thinking of, but I was thinking about something either today or yesterday, and I was like, ugh, I usually don't even bother. Like I that's something I can easily like not lie about, but just like
get
omit.
through.
Yeah. It wasn't, whatever it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was like one of those things that I was like, I love when I don't have to explain this. I feel like my family is, oh, well, like that's okay. That's one for me. Like my family situation, it's way more cut and dry now that like my mom and her fiance live in New Hampshire. But before it was like, well, they live in New Hampshire sometimes, but they also have her fiance's house. And then my dad lives over here with my brother. And I used to get like, so like, oh my God, this has changed so much from when it just was like, oh, my parents are together and they all live in this one house and it's fine. Now it's like it takes some explaining, and I'm so not used to that because I didn't like grow up with like divorced parents where I had like split families and things like that. So I usually got to answer things really easily. Like it was never like, oh, I have a home here with my dad and a home here with my, like it was never like that. So can you think of anything else that you do that with?
I don't really know. Because I feel like there's not, like the things that I have like aversions to all kind of center around like my need for like control and like preparedness and like having a plan and stuff like that. So the only thing I can think of is somebody asking me to like hang out. So it's still like in line with this. Like it basically in any situation where someone asked me something that I didn't necessarily want to do, I wouldn't explain why I didn't to an acquaintance. Yeah.
Like instead of saying like, oh, I actually just like feel really like I don't have like the energy for that. You might just be like, oh, I'm just busy.
Literally. Like it would be just much shorter than that.
Yeah. It is really interesting, like just how certain conversations and certain things are like really taxing on us. And we just feel like if the person is not super close to us, it's like it doesn't like warrant an explanation. Because I can't think of any, like there's nothing big, but just like little things like that. Like I might not explain like like my whole like family background or like I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that was a good question. I feel like if I thought about it more, maybe I could think of more stuff, but
so, tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone you've just met.
How?
Yeah.
Should we skip it? Because we, like, saying something you might not say to someone you've just met. Like, that's what we did before.
Yeah, like, we didn't just meet. So, like, I already said something to you that I wouldn't say like had I just met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it the opposite way. Like, I have something that I could tell you that's, like, I could tell you that if I just met you or, like, just heard of you.
What? Wait, like, if
like,
you...
I have something that's not that deep. So we could
about
do it
you?
About you.
Okay.
So, like, the question's asking us to come up with something that we would say that's on like a deeper level.
That we like about the other person.
Yeah. But since we already did that, we could flip it and this time do something that we would say to each other if we had just met or something like
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
that. Okay.
I've already just spiked the thing so high. Sorry for everyone listening in headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's a surface level thing you like about me?
Well, now that I think of it, I feel like this thing is not that surface level, but I also don't think it's that deep. I feel like I think that you're really good at balancing being serious and being like funny and childlike.
God, that's what I strive for every day, honestly.
Which I think maybe someone could learn about you if they just met you. Like, I think
Yeah.
I say this because I feel like I struggle with that. Like, when I'm meeting new people, I'm very much like, oh, fun. Like, I just like a child because I just like, I don't know. I just want to like come across as fun, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not always good at like being vulnerable or being like serious with like new people. I'm always just kind of like high pitched, like whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like you kind of are able to do both.
Yeah, for being like, it's funny because I'll sort of, thank you, first of all. I sort of like will dread going into new social situations, and then I get in them and I flourish in them. I literally feel like I'm like my mom like that, where like I could talk to anyone and like come out of it. Like I could like really like open up, like anything.
I actually don't think I've been in many situations with you where you were meeting new people, but I can picture it. Like I can picture like your tone being like, okay, cool, so like what do you do? Like,
yeah, well, you've watched me meet your friends, your family.
That's true. But I feel like when like I'm not like that when I meet new people. I'm just like, cool, okay, nice. Like I can't like compose myself. I don't know.
Okay, this is interesting because you kind of didn't give like a super like shallow one, or like it's not like it is surface level, but it's like you would have to at least talk to me a little bit to get to know that about me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of like something. I'm also trying to think about what like some of my first impressions of you were. I don't remember, to be honest.
I don't remember
either.
My memory's not that good. I probably was like, hi, you're gonna be in Acquired Taste. That's cool.
the vibrate sound effect on TikTok. Okay, well, something I really like about you, and I don't think that this is like you wouldn't necessarily get this from just meeting someone, like that's kind of random, but I love one of the things I like about being friends with you, although it doesn't help me at all, is how much you love things like I do. like we both like love to shop and love like things for things. Like we're both big like, what if we got this thing to help us do this better or to make this look cuter, or like we both have like just like an unwavering commitment to feeling and looking,
attaching
our
feelings
best
to things.
Yeah, like we're very like, we would feel so good if we bought this plant and put it right here.
Yeah.
And like we would feel so good if we got a sports bra that fit us like this. And we would be so happy and so fulfilled if things smelled like vanilla. Yeah. And like we have like we're very enthusiastic about like making our home, like us creating this apartment was so fun. And like us like shopping together, we're very like the exact same type of shopper where we're like, okay, I'm thinking that I need something to fulfill this need, and I won't stop until I find it. Ready, set, break.
I think what's interesting about that is like anytime I've tried to describe that trait to other people, I always say like it's not necessarily being materialistic. It's more that like we really think that things have power to like make us feel better.
Yeah, well, I think like my environment is huge, and so it's definitely like a lot about like trying to control and make my environment happier.
Like comfort, it do be like that.
I mean, though. I guess part of it is like materialistic because it's like sometimes I feel like we like things just to like because like it's I think what it makes us materialistic about it is when we buy things we feel so excited about them and then want more things.
Yeah.
So that's very materialistic of it. And like the reason I say it doesn't help me at all is because like we totally like encourage each other.
You know what though, I don't know what the heck has happened to me in quarantine, because I feel like I was like more self-controlled before. Don't you?
You were. I
would always encourage you, like if you ever came to me and said, do you think I should get this? I feel like I'd usually say, yeah, get it.
Yeah.
But like for me, I had a lot more self-control before, but now I don't.
You letting go has encouraged me to like continue on my path, and it's not good. I feel like you've met me at my level. But yeah, I always just felt like that was such a fun thing about us, is like we like shop the same way. I just feel like we're in a never ending phase of nesting, and that's like really what it is.
Yeah.
And like self-improvement.
You know what? Yeah, I feel like we're always nesting not only in our space but in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to like find clothes that make us feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And like bras that support us.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life.
Well, when I did this with the person that I just did these with, I shared the most embarrassing moment in my life thus far.
Do I know it?
You do know it. It's kind of, I can shorten the story.
Okay.
But once this goes on the podcast, you all know one of the most embarrassing. Here's the thing. I get embarrassed very, 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 very easily.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like there have been things that have happened to me that were so much less of a big deal, but I felt more embarrassed by. But like this is like textbook embarrassment. And all I'm saying is to allude to the fact that one time I went on a second date and my mom called the cops. And
yeah,
you guys, so I went on a second date with this person.
Yeah.
This was a year ago.
Yeah.
And I went back to his home, all very innocent like, and my mom, I was driving to his house, and then he was going to drive us to our date. And so my car was parked at his house, and my mom was like, oh, I don't love the idea of you. At the time I was living with my mom, which is why we were talking about this. So she was like, oh, I don't love the idea of you like getting in the car with this person and letting him drive you when you don't really know him. Like, can't you just meet him at the place? And I was like, Mom, like, no, like he lives like really close to it. So like, I'm just going to like leave my car at his place and we're going to drive there and, you know, whatever. And she's like, okay. I was like, you know what, Mom, to make you feel better, how about I turn on my location settings for you so that you can see where I am, so that, you know, if anything were to happen, you would have that. But my mom took that as an invitation to like check the settings all day. And when she saw after our date, we went back to his place. And so the car and me were just like sitting at his house, and I wasn't answering because I was trying not to be rude. I was trying to enjoy the company. And so I left my phone in my purse, and it was like on the other side of the room, and I left it for like an hour. And I come back and I have, or maybe like an hour and a half, I have all these texts from her being like, hello, where are you? I'm calling the cops. I'm calling your brother. I'm calling out. So as soon as I look at my phone, I'm like, oh my God. And I look out the window, and I shit you not, as I look out the window, the cops are pulling up. And not only that, but I look to the right and I see my older brother standing there with his friend, because they were together. And I guess my mom called my brother and was like, have you heard from your sister, whatever. So he went over. My mom gave him the address of where my phone was. He comes over. I guess he had knocked on the door, but I didn't hear him because we were in like the upstairs of a house. Whatever. You guys, I walk outside barefoot And I'm like, bullshit at my brother. I'm like, what did you just do? Like, why would you listen to mom? Like, why can't you be on why didn't you like talk her down?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why the fuck are you not answering your phone? Sorry to say the F word. But like, we were swearing at each other because we were mad in front of this police officer. Like, I was like, Matt, what the hell? And he was like, well, what are you doing? He's like, you just like, you go on the date and you don't answer your phone at all. I was like, hello, it's called being courteous.
I know, that's the catch-22 of it. Because like, you want to be present.
And the cop is standing there and he's like, so is this some big miscommunication? And I was like, yes, officer. And he's like, you seem okay. I was like, well, officer, I am more than okay. Please leave. Okay. And then like the guy that I'm on the date with, he was like so nice about it. And he was like, it's okay. Like your mom did the right thing. Like she was concerned about you. She doesn't know who I am. Like, of course, whatever. And I was like, literally, and I like called my mom, but I wasn't even like, I was upset with her, but it's like I wasn't angry at her because I was like, I mean, that'd be fair.
Yeah.
Like
in the
I
world
get
we
it.
live in, yes.
But that was probably the most embarrassing thing objectively that's ever happened to me, even though I'm pretty sure that I've like dropped something on the ground and felt like more pang of embarrassment in my soul. Mm-hmm. But okay, so with all of that in mind, Marissa, what's your most embarrassing moment?
I wish I could remember exactly how this went down, but I remember when I was in 6th grade, I passed a note to a guy I had a crush on that said something telling. Like, I don't think I literally would have said, like, hi, I have a crush on you. But it was something that, like, led on that I liked this guy.
Oh.
And when I passed the note, it somehow got to, like, everybody. And so then one of the guys in my class, who was not the guy that I sent the note to, said, like, said out loud to everybody. And, like, everybody had read the note, I think. So they all knew, like, what he was talking about. He was like, man, I feel so bad for you. I wouldn't want Marissa to have a crush on me.
Stop.
Yeah. And everybody everybody knew what was happening. Like, it wasn't like this like side conversation exchange between like me and the one kid. Like, it was like he said it and the whole class heard it.
Did he get the note and pass it around, or did he get it last? And that like how did that kid
something like that? Like, I know he was a friend of the person that I meant the note to go to. And the person that I meant the note to go to didn't say anything to me.
But do you know if the person who you meant to get the note saw it?
I think so.
Like, maybe he passed it around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. Like, it didn't end with him. I think it got to him and then he passed it to, like,
because at first I thought you meant like you like gave it to someone to give to him, and instead they passed it around. So then I was like, wait, how would he even know what they were talking about?
No, I think he then passed it to like his
awful.
boys.
That's very like Full House moment. Like, Danny Tanner would be swooping in right now and being DJ girl, there are gonna be plenty of other fish in the sea.
It was really...
Just wait until Viper gets on the scene. Just wait until Steve gets on the scene.
Yeah,
I hate that for you.
I know, that's
scarring.
I really can't remember the exact mechanics of it, but I do remember crisply the sentence, it would suck if Marissa had a crush on me.
That's so sad that people did think that way. Like, it like sucked if like someone had a crush on you who like you thought was
he was
like
damn
uncool,
dude, I feel bad
like,
for you that this ugly chick has a crush on you.
Ugly chick, that's awful. Is that how what you thought, that he was that was his way of like saying you were ugly? Mm-hmm. Okay,
but to be fair,
that's rude.
I had braces, I had bangs with greasy hair, I dressed in clothes from Kmart because I couldn't go to like Limited 2 in Hollister or whatever like everyone else was. And
because if someone said that about me, my initial reaction wouldn't have been that it would be so much about my looks, but just like my status. That they would have been like, she's just a nerdy girl who plays the violin.
Yeah, I guess it really says a lot about you, like in the moment, at whatever age you would be at the time you would hear someone say that, what your first thought would be, because that really shows like what your biggest insecurity was. And mine was like the way I looked.
Yeah, yours was definitely your looks.
So your mind jumps to like whatever you're the most insecure about.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely always had insecurities about my looks, but like I think if I had heard someone say that about me, I would have thought that that's because they thought I was weird, or they thought I was like nerdy, or they thought I just wasn't cool.
Which could have been true too, because I mean, I've told you
maybe
that
he thought you were a hot stallion, but just
I've told you that on the first day of 6th grade, I told the teacher that my official nickname was Maleficent, right?
Yes.
So like that's the kind of kid that we're looking at. So like probably wasn't just looks, it probably was weird personality too, but I own it now, you know. I think if I had a crush on someone now, they should be proud and lucky and not ashamed.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly don't have greasy bangs and what was the other thing you said? In braces.
Objectively, no, I do not.
You're beautiful. Anyone should be like, that's so messed up that people would be like, oh my God, it's such a burden to have this
literally
person
what it
have
was.
a crush on me.
Oh, I would feel
That's
so
sad.
bad if that was me.
I do remember that this guy had a crush on me in 6th grade though, and it like was a burden, but mostly because I felt like overwhelmed by it. Like I didn't like him back. And so I only felt overwhelmed about it instead of feeling excited about it. Like I was like, because he like would pay me special attention. I'd never experienced that before. And I was like very distrustful of it. Like I was like, why are you talking to me? Like it like freaked me out. And then like people were like, he likes you. And I'd be like, no, he doesn't. I was like, he just is staring at me. Like I was like scared of it.
Feelings are so awkward.
I remember one time my friend found out that this guy had a crush on her, who she was like friendly with, but like he was like nerdy or whatever, and she literally had a breakdown and cried. I was like, I hate middle school. This was all 6th grade, by the way. Oh God,
middle school sucked.
It do be like that. Okay, when did you last cry in front of another person? By yourself?
Me lady. Gosh. I think the last time I cried in front of another person was the last time I cried in front of you, which was maybe like, it was like early July. I think that was the last. I don't think I've cried in front of another person since then. And by myself, I feel like it depends on what your definition of crying is. Because I feel like if I'm by myself and I'm like in my feels and I'm like having a moment,
you tear up.
I never like actually have like tears stream, but I do have a lot of moments where I just like tear up a little bit.
Me too. Yeah, I guess like last time you had like a full on cry.
Full on cry by myself, like tears streaming down my face.
Yeah. Tears streaming.
I think it was the same time that I cried in front of you. Like I think what happened is I cried by myself, and then I went to you and I was still crying. And
then you went back and you're still crying again.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that was like my last like full on like full body cry, rivers out of my ears. But I have had not my ears, my eyes.
I was like, I've never heard that.
But since then, I have had a few moments where I like, sometimes I just feel like frustrated. Like if I'm like literally last night, I heard the noise from aforementioned neighbors above me, and it was in the middle of the night and I got woken up and I was so frustrated that I like.
And so tired.
Yeah. And when you're tired and you're mad, like wicked angry, I had tears in my eyes then, but.
You cried in my dream last night and I was pissed at you.
Oh my God.
You want to know why? You were crying because you didn't like my dog. Like you were like, get her away from me. I don't like it. And I was like, I'm so angry. It was a really heated dream.
Oh my God.
I like had Penny and then like another dog around for some reason, and every time they would like go near you and like tickle
it
your
wasn't
feet.
Penny, I just didn't like the other dog.
It was, I think you didn't like either of them. You suddenly felt really overwhelmed by the dogs, and I was like, get a grip. I was so mad.
Meanwhile, I'm in my own room with tears in my eyes. What about you?
Last cried to another person. I cried to my mom on the phone last week, and I cried to her on FaceTime, and I also then cried to her over audio. So either way you spin it, I cried in front of her, even if you don't count the phone as crying in front of someone. And then I also cried literally the day in between. So I cried to her on a Sunday, then I cried by myself on a Monday, then I cried to her again on Tuesday. You guys, last week was rough. Not this past week, the week before.
Sunday,
I already talked about it last week on the
cry.
podcast.
Yeah, Monday I had a cry, and Tuesday
I had a cry. Yeah. Yeah. Hence why I just needed a break, you guys. That's what I'm saying. Tell your partner about something that you... Oh, my God.
We're not doing this.
Tell your partner something that you like about them already. I like your shirt. Let's have a good time. I don't know why that's like what came out first. I like your shirt. Let's have a good time. Should I use that line on someone else? Me making new friends. I like your shirt. Let's party.
That's what I gotta start using on Hinge. Speaking of needing Hinge advice.
Yeah, let's skip that.
Okay.
What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Ooh. I mean, I think there are a lot of things that are too serious to be joked about.
I know. All the things that are coming to mind are like things that I'm like not sure if I should like say the word or if that alone would be triggering.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
sexual assault.
Yeah, like I think it's kind of crazy that they say if anything, because that implies that some people think that there's nothing too serious to be joked about.
Yeah, the things that first come to mind are sexual assault and genocide.
The first thing that came to my mind was, I guess, trigger warning, suicide. I would say if I had to pick one thing, that's the thing that bugs me the most. Like, I've heard people, there's a specific YouTuber I have in mind that I continue to watch, but he said this before, and maybe you'll know who I'm talking about. He'll say like, oh, I should just kill myself. Like, yeah. Okay. Like, this video is so bad, I should just
She's laughing because I just mouthed the YouTuber's name to her, by the way.
Got it
and
right
I got
away.
it right, but I did it in like I was like really trying to enunciate because I'm not good at like lip reading.
Yeah. I think that for me is like the most triggering one for sure, and the most like the one that I tend to hear the most that people say. Yeah, I don't think anyone should be saying anything like that in any sort of joking manner whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and with him it's tricky too, because like he actually struggles with his mental health and with suicidal thoughts. So it's particularly concerning.
Yeah. I think like it's totally fine if self-deprecating humor is your thing, but there's like a limit and a boundary.
Yeah, like I wonder if he thinks that that's sort of his way of taking ownership over those feelings, but it's
maybe.
Yeah, it's actually like it almost makes it more concerning because it's not like a thoughtless joke that he like someone might say that and not truly like grapple with the weight of it, but it's like he does know the weight of it and is still saying it. So yeah, that's tricky.
That ain't right.
Yeah, I think anything that is like violent is not okay to joke about. Like I said, like a genocide, sexual assault.
Yeah.
Death in a lot of ways is not okay to joke. Some things are like okay, I guess, like about like death as like a subject. Like I feel like I've joked
like
about
mortality
like
or something,
going to heaven and like shit, like stuff like that. But like I feel like joking about like someone who's died like legitimately is not funny.
Yeah. And like the world is not lacking for those jokes not being in it. Like I really don't understand people who like think that joke really needs to be made.
Yeah.
Like tasteless stuff like that. It's like, do you really think that like the universe needed to hear that? No.
Yeah.
No one needs to hear that. Okay. Next one is, if you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? Why haven't you told them yet? That is lots of words.
The first thing to pop into my head is the secret to the Krabby Patty secret formula.
As if you have it.
I think Five Guys has it.
Oh my God. It's peanut oil.
It is, yeah.
Don't they cook their fries with peanut oil or something?
That's a really good one. Do you have an answer? Because I don't yet.
I don't know why. I am someone who can't comprehend and read aloud at the same time.
Yeah.
So like I just read that whole question and I literally have no idea what I said.
Totally. Yeah. I totally feel that.
It's just kind of a convoluted way of saying, like, if you knew you were going to die, what would you want to tell someone?
Yeah, the tonight thing doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
they're just making it imminent.
They're asking it like, if you die and you can't tell them, what would you regret the most? But that's the same thing as saying, like, what's the one thing you would want to say? You know?
Yeah.
I really don't think...
I try really hard not to leave things like that. Like, I try really hard to, you know, not go to bed mad. I try really hard to say I love you when I'm leaving people that I love.
Yeah.
I try really hard to let people know that they matter to me and why they matter to me in the moment, instead of doing it later or in a birthday card once a year. Like, I really try hard to make people feel loved.
Yeah. And when things come up that feel big and important, I always tend to like make sure that they get resolved.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think, like, so, like, you know, I think my first thought is to think of like who needs to hear like I love them, or who needs to hear this important thought I have about them. But then I'm like, I wonder if there's anything that I need to say that I'm angry about, or that I'm like holding on to, that I would want to just like let the person know before I go. But it's like, no, because like if I lived with it for this long, then like, nah, like I'll just die with it.
Yeah. I think if I had to say something, it would be something to my dad. Like, it would be something like, I know we haven't had the best relationship, but like, just know that I still love you. Like, I don't know, because that's like the one relationship in my life that I feel like is the most like confusing and the least communicated. So I feel like he's the only person that like if I died, he wouldn't really know where I stood with him. Whereas I think everyone else that's like a big presence in my life would know, like, I'm going to miss her, but I know how much she loved me. But like, I don't think my dad would know like what I thought.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't know what you thought of me.
So the second part of the question is, why haven't you yet?
Because our relationship just like hasn't called for that kind of communication, like that channel of communication, like emotional, vulnerable kind of stuff feels like it's closed. Like it just doesn't feel like an open channel. So I would really have to like make it a big deal. Like I'd have to like, because if like, I put it this way, like if I were to just like leave my dad and tell him I loved him, he'd be like, wait, what? So it would need to be like a whole talk where I was like, here's why I never said it before, here's why I'm saying it now, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, that would be a good answer for me.
You would tell your dad you love him?
Yeah. Or just that like he didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah. Oh, this is heavy.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have similar, like I'm closer with my mom, just like I always have been like such a mommy's girl and really glued to my mom's hip. So I do feel like I'm in more communication with her than my dad. So I also feel like it would need to be something to my dad. I mean, I think he knows how much I love him, but I think I would just make sure he understands how much I appreciate the things that he's done for me, and that it hasn't gone unnoticed or unchecked. Although I try to always thank him, I think that I would just like really make sure I hone in on that if I knew that I was going to die, because I feel like, again, like my mom and I are like in constant communication, so I feel like she really like knows and gets a lot of that, like those affirmations from me. So yeah, I feel like I would just make sure that my dad knows how I feel about him. Deep.
We done got deep on that one.
Your house.
Oh, this question. Oh, God.
Containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely why did that come out funny? Safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why?
Okay, so do you want to know a fun fact about me, which I may or may not have told you before?
Sure.
Sometimes when I'm just like bored and my mind is wandering, I ask myself 100% this question.
Told me this before. You've told me what you think your answer would be too.
I honestly forgot what I would have told you. But, oh yeah. Well, so, yeah. I don't know why, in terms of, like, my brain, like, makeup, like, why that's something that I, like, often go to. I feel like when I was younger, I had a very, like, emergency mindset. Like, I was always, like, afraid that the house would catch fire. I was afraid that someone would rob us. I was afraid that someone would like break into my window when I was asleep. So
yeah, I had a fear of someone abducting me from my home.
Yeah, so I feel like I always have had this sort of thing in the back of my mind where I also am a person who always wants to like be prepared. Mm-hmm. So I always find myself being like, okay, if this happened, really, what would I do? I'm like, Marissa, let's think about it now so we don't have to think about it later and we're covered.
I feel like there should be I feel like there is a name for that, like worst case scenarioing.
It's like being anxious.
Well, yeah, it's definitely the word for it is anxiety, but also like I feel like I feel like there's something either my mom and I call it or something like that where like you worst case scenario everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Yes.
Well, so what I told you before, my one thing would be is my rings. Before quarantine, when I was like going to work every day and like out every single day, it was part of my like leaving the house routine to put on all my rings. And I had like 4 or 5 that like each had their own finger and like I always wore them the same way every single day. But what's funny about that now is like, since we're home all the time, I don't put them on to like work. So I actually haven't worn them in like months.
Yeah. I actually was thinking of that like as I like brought that up or as we were answering this question and you said like, oh, I can't think of what I've told you in the past. I was like, well, you're not wearing them right now. So
there's one ring that I usually wear on my right hand ring finger that if I do put on a ring, it's that one because I've had that one since high school and somehow have like managed to hold on to it. And I actually remember thinking I lost it once, senior year of college, and being really sad. But yeah, so now that I feel like I have less of an attachment to those rings, I don't really know what I would choose.
My thing is, like, I wish they also included electronics in this. Like, you already saved your electronics because there's this part of me that's like, well,
phone
I would
and
want,
wallet.
like, to just, like, get, like, my wallet, or I would want to get, like, my, like, laptop so I can, like, text people and be like, hello. Like, I want to, like, save the expensive stuff because I'm apparently going to have a lot of, hopefully home insurance kicks in, although not if we're living in this apartment. But I like my like logical brain is like, oh, well, like you should get your expensive things. Because I also don't have a lot of like family heirlooms or like mementos. Like a lot of that stuff is like, with like my parents, like at their places. Like I do have like one thing, but I actually don't think it's even with me at this apartment. Like if I think of like one thing that I've like been given from like a grandmother, I have like some other like some little things, either like costume jewelry or fun things from grandparents, but it's not like I would be okay if I lost it. Like it's not like a like it was just like something they bought that I just like thought was cute, and so I took it after they passed or whatever. But it's, I don't know. So I don't know what I would get either.
I guess so. If we already took like phone and wallet and keys, you're gonna take.
Let's say those things are already with you.
I think that maybe I would choose something kind of stupid, which is this little baby pug in a cup that I have.
It's a pug in a mug, actually.
A pug in a mug. My mom gave it to me my senior year of college, and that was when my pug phase was at its peak. But she's just like, she's never been the type to like get me random gifts or surprises. Like, she's only gotten me gifts on my birthday and Christmas, and like even when she does, they're sort of like practical things. Like, she's never gotten me anything like useless before, like any like useless knickknack. But she just happened to see this pug in a mug when she was at the store, and she bought it for me. And I just thought that was like just so funny and out of character and sweet of her. And I actually used to have it at my desk at my office, and I had this moment at work, and this was like obviously before Corona. This was maybe like last winter or something. I had this moment where I was like, I would be really sad if someone stole this, or if I couldn't see it or whatever. Like, not that I was predicting coronavirus, but I literally had this moment where I was like, I don't feel good about keeping this pug in a mug at my work. I want it at my home because I want to make sure I have it.
Yeah.
So I brought it home, which is funny because, like, yeah, I would have been sad if we went into quarantine and I wasn't able to get it. So,
wow. This really took a twist.
So
It's
yeah,
got really
actually,
emotional.
I mean, I feel kind of stupid about it because it's just like this, again, useless knickknack. Like, it's not gonna.
It's a literal pug in a mug.
Yeah, it's dumb, but like it just makes me happy.
It makes me happy.
It makes me think of my mom and her just being
I one
silly.
time did a rap. I think I did this for you because I've done it. Yeah, like I think I like went around your room and tried to like make a rap out of like using the things in your room, and I was like, pug in a mug.
Mm-hmm.
Da, da, da. Love that little guy.
Yeah, that would be my thing.
Mine
Did
would
you
be
pick a
my
thing?
journals.
Okay, but here's a question. If you had to pick one, which, like, age would you choose?
Okay, so I have 2 journals currently in my room. I have like one somewhere, like a teeny one from one of those like pass lock what is it called? The diary. They had a name. The password detected diary.
My secret diary or something?
Yeah. I have no idea where that is. So I have 2. I have one from like middle school, high school, like freshman year of college, and then I have one from like sophomore year of college on. That's the only one I've ever finished.
Mm-hmm.
So like the thing is, I feel like I was the most eloquent in most like introspective in the college and on one, obviously, as I got older. But and had like probably some of the most major life events, but I remember less from the younger ages, and like going back through it, it's kind of like a hoot because I like talk about like petty fights in middle school, and then like in high school talk about like serious stuff, like, you know, I applied to this college, or like my Nana passed, and reading those entries, reading how I felt at the time when I lost her was like really crazy because I can remember how I felt, but to have it in writing and to be like, yes, this is exactly how I felt on this day, is crazy. So I feel like I would choose my younger self diary, even though it's not even finished. But then again, would I choose my older one? Because which would my grandkids be less embarrassed?
Oh my God.
I feel like I was even more innocent in my younger age. Well, as I should be.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's less for my...
Well, I also feel like, I mean, you still have a fair amount of friends from high school, but like, if it were me, like, I don't talk to anybody that I was friends with in high school. So like, I wouldn't even have anybody to like talk. I mean, okay, that's drastic. I talked to a few people that I talked to in high school, but I'm
a loner through and through.
No, I have people, but I feel like college years, like, you could always talk to me. Like, there are more people that we could talk to about the memories we have from college, but for me, there aren't as many people I can talk to about the high school memories.
Yeah.
So they would need to be preserved more.
That's true. Yeah, I think I would choose my younger one.
All right.
Aw.
I think for this next question, we should both just give our answers, but not elaborate much or anything.
Okay.
Should we even do this question?
The question is, of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing? Why? Yeah, let's not say why. Let's just say who.
Yeah. For me, it would be my mom.
For me, it would be my brother.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're
elaborating.
We're not saying why, but I do think that like this question is interesting because of the different ways you can interpret disturbing.
Yeah, the ad of disturbing makes me think of it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised that wasn't the last one, honestly, because that's like the. Ugh, I like that question gives me like. Bleh. But the actual last question is share a personal problem.
I drum rolled over you saying it. That was my bad.
Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how he or she or they might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Oh my God. Again, so many words. Don't know what I just said.
Okay, so Marissa. I have this problem where my upstairs neighbors. Okay, should I not do that?
I mean, you can.
My problems are your problems.
That problem is our problem, yeah.
Okay, let me think. Marissa, I have this problem where my...
This is so formal.
I have this problem where my... where my toenails get really dry.
Stop.
And I like to put nail polish on my toenails because I think that's how they look best, but then my toenails get really dry. And I recently bought this like it's like a polish strengthener thing. It's like a treatment and you're supposed to put it on 1 to 2 times a day. Okay, so yeah, I'll make my question very specific. So my question was going to be, how would you handle my toenails? But I just got this strengthener. So assuming we roll with that remedy, my problem is that you're supposed to put the strengthener on 1 to 2 times a day for 2 weeks, and then remove it with like nail polish remover, and then do it again for the second week. Mm-hmm. And I'm on week 2, but I've been absolutely inconsistent with it. And I honestly feel like it gives my toenails like a nice pinky sheen. But when I removed it like last week, like they were still really dry. So I guess what I'm wondering is, Marissa, how would you suggest I like really implement this toe strengthener, or do you think I should stop it? But I just spent like $10 on it, so like I ain't gonna stop it. But like, just how would you feel if you were in my shoes? And also, how do you think I feel about my problem?
Oh, okay, that's the other part. Okay,
what are you hearing from me?
I think you feel like you would like to do it perfectly, but you don't really care that much. Like it would be nice if you could like do it exactly how
that was such a hearty
to.
laugh. I feel like I've been in deep Jess mode today, like in terms of, like my voice. Like have you ever noticed? I wonder if you've noticed this.
Yeah,
I think I do. Have you ever noticed that sometimes I talk deeper?
Yeah, it's part of what. I mean, sometimes I do too, but it's kind of part of what I said earlier about how you can like be deep and like serious adult, but then also be like,
but like my whole ass voice gets deeper.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, yes, I really do agree with that. Actually,
I think mine does too.
Go ahead with the business deal.
Okay, I feel like you should. Are there some? So you're supposed to do it twice a day?
Yeah.
Are there some days that you don't even do it once a day?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my advice. I would commit to doing it once a day instead of twice.
Is there a time I should do it?
Because 2 times a day sounds like a lot. But 1 time a day, if your brain can be like, that's easier, I can handle that, then you make it 1 instead of 2. And you do it in a routine where like do you have to like wet your feet, or you just like do it?
You just put it on. You just layer it.
So associate it with another activity.
I know. So that's what I'm trying to think of. So I'm like, well, should I associate it with like when I take like my medicine? Then I'm like, well, then I take it right before I go to bed, and I can't get into bed with wet toenails.
No, you know when I would do it?
Brush your teeth. in the morning?
I would do it like at a time you're sitting at your desk.
Right.
Because you can like have your shoes off and then just do it and then stay sitting and they can
dry. So
dry.
that's what makes me do it sporadically is I'll be sitting at my desk and I'll see it because I have it propped out. It's sitting on top of my desk in like my little skincare thing, and I'll see it and be like, I'm going to do it, and then I'll do it. And so I don't even know. I think there are days where I haven't done it at all, but maybe I haven't. This is the thing. I'm not paying attention.
Well, maybe you should do it either right when you start working.
This really is a personal problem.
Right when you start working, or right after you have your lunch break, or right when you're signing off. Like associate it with like a certain point of your workday.
Okay, well, I'm not working this week, so I guess that'll start
true.
next week.
Yeah,
we'll hold off on fixing my problem.
How to do it when you're not working? I have no answers for you. That's funny.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I like the idea of going with something that's like not deep, so we can like end this podcast on a.
Well, I don't like. I'm not gonna ask you how to fix my student loan debt.
Yeah.
So I just feel like
yeah,
I could ask you how to stop spending money, but you're part of the problem. So it's like, why bother? And honestly, my dry toes are hindering my life.
All right. Okay. So, okay. My like aesthetic problem is that I don't like my hair right now because I got a wicked short haircut in December.
Wicked short being shoulder length.
It was like a little above my shoulders. I liked it. It was one of those things where like I liked it for a week when it was fresh, and I was like, wow. Weight off my shoulders. Look at me. I'm so fresh and fun. But like, you know, a month passes and I'm like, okay, I'm sick of having short hair. But of course, when you have short hair, like if you have long hair and you're sick of it, it's like, okay, cut it. But if you have short hair and you're sick of it, it's like there are literally no options for you. So months passed and it grew out. And now it's at this length where like, I just don't like it. But I don't want to cut it. I just want to grow it out. But in the meantime, I want to feel good in it. But I'm also lazy. So every day I just like throw it up.
Well, we're not going anywhere.
I know, but I feel like.
So it's okay.
I know, but I don't.
Sorry, I don't mean to belittle your problem. I get that no one's seeing my dry toes either. But.
Yeah, I don't like feel good in my scalp. And I just want to like feel good about my hair because it's just like it's growing off my head. It's attached to me. It's there. So I don't want to not like it.
Bangs.
Just no.
Kidding. Okay. What I'm hearing from you is that you have some fatigue about your look, your looks. I think your hair is part of it, but I think, you know, we're wearing the same kinds of outfits these days. We're doing the same kind of makeup, if anything. So it's kind of like, you know, maybe if you were styling your hair with certain shirts and certain jewelry, you'd feel differently about it, but you're not kind of doing the same thing every day. And so your hair is just one of those things that you can change. And I'm hearing that despite the fact that you told me to tell you never to cut your hair, and then I told you, Marissa, don't cut your hair because you told me to not let you cut your hair, and then you cut it anyway.
Vicious cycle.
I'm hearing that now you're going to ask me again.
No.
Cut your hair.
So that's my problem is because like I'm dead set on not cutting it, but it's going to take ages for it to grow. So like, am I just going to be like unhappy with it until it's long? So I'm almost like, should I like dye it or should I like
do you have any feelings about the color?
Well, so here's a subset to the problem.
Because I'm not a fan of dyeing your hair to fix what like not liking.
Agree.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm fine with dyeing your hair to liven up your style while you're waiting for it to grow out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want you, because your hair is so dark.
Yeah.
If you want to dye it anything other than a different kind of dark,
Yeah.
you're going to have to lighten it. And I don't want you to damage your hair when you're trying to grow it out.
Yeah, so that's the problem. Ultimately, for years, what I've wanted was like a pretty balayage. And I've tried a couple of times to achieve this. And it's never done right because I always try to go somewhere cheap.
I'm glad you acknowledge it at least.
I always try to go to the cheapest, like, cheater option instead of, like, really doing it. So I never like how it comes out. So I still have this, like, desire in me to do that. But I don't think that will look good on me until my hair's a little longer.
Well, I've had balayage with my, like, mid-length hair.
Yeah, but your hair is different. Like, your color is completely different.
Well, that's true.
Because balayage on you is more, like, blonde with roots that are, like, blended out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's sort of how that's sort of the overall appearance it gives. Even though, like, the whole bottom of my hair is now brunette. But
yeah. Whereas for me,
it looks like I'm overall blonde.
For me, balayage is, like, it's very obviously not natural at all. You know what I mean? Like, some blonde people do have darker roots naturally.
You know what? I'm going to give you a solution.
All right.
Here I am. After all of this, after hearing what you have to say and after assessing what you've had to say, I'm going to say that you should make a Pinterest board dedicated to your hair right now. So don't be looking backward at old Pinterest boards with hair ideas. Make a Pinterest board that says hair August 2020 and start looking at different things. Look at balayage on people with dark brown hair. Look at balayage on people with mid-length hair.
Here's a question for you that I think maybe other people have on their minds during this time.
People weigh in.
As always, towards the end of the podcast, I always want people to talk to us. I have been grappling with, like, is it worth it to do things to your appearance that make you feel good, even though you're not going anywhere? Like, is it enough? Like, say I did want to, like, balayage my hair now and, like, dropped a lot of money on it and loved it, but I wasn't going anywhere. Is it worth it?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. So I went back to being blonde through balayage a year ago, and I've been thinking, like, if I was brunette, like, say this was, like, what I did last year was actually this year. So, like, I did it, like, last summer. Say, like, last summer was the pandemic. Would I have just stayed brunette, or would I, like, have been like fine with that, or would I the whole time been like, oh, I just wanted to go blonde? Because I wanted to go blonde. Even when I started growing out my brunette hair, it wasn't because I didn't want to be blonde. It was just because I wanted to have all virgin hair again, to, like, dye it the right way. And so I think I would have been kind of bummed about it. But this summer I technically have that balayaged hair, but it's growing out, and my roots are now, like, truly, like, my natural root. Whereas when I get it balayage, they technically darken my root a little bit. They like gloss it so that it overall has that more, like, ashy appearance than, like, my light hair. Like, my natural hair is, like, a lighter brown. So I've been sort of thinking, like, not necessarily, like, is it worth it, but I've been like, when will I go get my hair done again? And if I don't do it until later, am I going to be, like, screwed because she's going to have to do so much more work because I haven't been upkeeping it? Like, I haven't gone in to do, like, coloring since January. So I was going to get it done in June for our friend's wedding. I was going to do, like, January to June because I can sort of grow it out in the meantime, and then do, like, a refresh of my highlights and then give it a nice, like, healthy trim. But I didn't do that. And so now I'm kind of like, I'm going to end up going, like, at least like probably a year. Like, if I just don't do anything, like, and just wait till the pandemic's over, I'll probably go over a year. And then, like, my back, I did the whole top half in January after doing my whole head last summer. So it's like the bottom half hasn't been touched and is completely like I've cut off the blonde at this point. So it's sort of interesting. Like I'm going to end up having to basically pay for it to get it done all over again.
Yeah.
And I've wondered, like, should I go in and get it done now to do that maintenance? And I keep deciding no, because I keep being like, I don't want to spend the money on it.
Right.
No one's really noticing it, and also it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
And so for me, I keep deciding no, that it's not worth it, and that I've decided maybe I'll even do something different, and well, never mind, because I don't think I'll do. I was thinking about doing a gloss and darkening it for like the warmer months, so doing like a temporary darkening, but I don't even think I would bother with that.
I guess for me, a gloss could be a good little in between, because the place that we go to, that's like $35, right?
Yeah.
So that could be a good, like, if I really felt like I needed a boost and wanted to go for like the colder weather, to go a little darker or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we have maybe talked about doing an episode on this, like how it kind of messes with you to like be looking at yourself in Zoom calls and like thinking of your self-image based on like that little square, and also coupled with like looking in the mirror way often because you're home all the time. You're always like passing by the mirror.
Yeah, I was going to write an article and try to pitch it to different outlets called Zoom is Killing My Self-Confidence.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting, and it's a new thing that we're
I actually did write it, but I don't like it. I don't like it in written form. It just sounds ranty.
Well, maybe we can turn it into a podcast episode.
Yeah. I started writing it. I basically it just was like like I realized I had no like ending. Like it was just like and scene. So I don't know. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's messed with my like on the days where I might not be feeling super body confident, it's worse because I'm home.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not like creating an outfit and like doing things that make me feel excited about my body. Yeah. I'm just sort of clothing it and then feeling like meh.
I feel like that's why I'm so focused on my hair, because that's something that like if I really liked my hair, I would wake up with it every day.
Yep.
And like it's not like makeup where it's like, oh, I don't want to put that on just to take it off. Like I wake up with my hair and I go to sleep with my hair.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, we'll see. Just another thing to think about.
I really thought that we were going to end this episode like a little early, because we were like on the last question pretty early, or like one of the last questions pretty early, and then we just like really went off.
Talked about my hair for 10 minutes. Yeah, this was fun. I always like structure, so it was nice to like have the questions in front of us and know exactly what was expected of us to say.
Yeah, I'm really excited about some upcoming episodes we have though. Like I'm excited about a couple of our topics that you may or may not be remembering right now, but let us know if you like the longer ones. You know, I feel like originally we were really strict about like, oh, we want to keep it at like 50 something minutes, so it's always under an hour, because we don't think people will like it if it's too long. But lately we've been capping in around like an hour 15, an hour 30, and that kind of feels natural to us by the time we get through. Like we spend like 15 minutes doing intros in our Roses and Thorns, so let us know if you make it to the end of this episode, if you like that, or if you would prefer it to be a little bit more digestible and things like that. We'd love to hear your feedback, and have a great week.
Bye, guys.